Do you know about the power black genes have in fighting against deadly diseases? Well, what if we say that black people can actually fight fatal diseases? What if we say that black people are more capable of resisting and fighting HIV, Alzheimer's disease, and skin cancer? Even black people have the ability to slow down the aging process and prolong life. But how is it possible? What power do black people have that makes them resistant to deadly diseases? The answer lies in black DNA and genes that make black people more resilient against diseases. This directly helps in prolonging life and dominance of overall black people in the natural ecosystem. That's the very reason why even the old black people look young and medically fit. But why were you never told about that? Well, if you were, drug companies and doctors would have closed their businesses. So how do black genes make black people resistant to certain diseases, and what are these diseases in the first place? In this video, let's know about the power of black genes.
The Black History Archives.
Number 1. Protection against skin cancer and sun damage. Melanin, the pigment that determines skin color, provides numerous health benefits for people of African descent, particularly in protecting against UV radiation. Melanin absorbs and disperses ultraviolet rays, which can damage skin cells and lead to skin cancer. However, people with darker skin have higher levels of melanin, which creates a natural barrier against UV-induced DNA damage. This results in significantly lower rates of skin cancer, such as melanoma, among people of African descent compared to lighter-skinned populations. Additionally, melanin protects against the effects of aging caused by sun exposure. That's why darker-skinned individuals are less likely to develop wrinkles, sunspots, and other signs of premature aging, as their skin is better equipped to defend against long-term UV damage. Number 2. HIV-2 resistance in West Africa. HIV-2, a form of HIV compared to HIV-1, is primarily found in West Africa. While HIV-2 can still lead to AIDS, it typically progresses more slowly, and those infected are less likely to pass the virus to others. This slower progression and lower transmission rate are thought to result from a combination of genetic and environmental factors unique to West African populations. Although HIV-2 does not grant full immunity, many West African populations appear to have developed a partial resistance to it over time. This resistance likely emerged due to prolonged exposure to the virus, with natural selection favoring individuals who could better control the virus. Number 3. TRAP1, gene and mitochondrial efficiency. Mitochondria, often described as the cell's powerhouses, are essential for overall health, impacting disease susceptibility and the aging process. The TRAP1 gene plays a role in mitochondrial function, and research suggests that certain variations in this gene may make mitochondrial processes more efficient in people of African descent. These TRAP1 gene variations could offer protection against age-related conditions, metabolic disorders, and even cancer by helping cells produce energy more efficiently. This enhanced mitochondrial efficiency may explain why some studies indicate that individuals of African descent tend to experience fewer age-related diseases. Number 4. APOE gene and Alzheimer's disease risk. The APOE, or apolipoprotein, E gene comes in 3 main variants: E2, E3, and E4. The E4 variant is associated with a higher risk of developing Alzheimer's disease and cardiovascular conditions, though its effects appear to differ across racial and ethnic groups. For example, African Americans who carry the APOE4 allele seem to have a lower risk of developing Alzheimer's compared to white Americans with the same genetic variant. This suggests that other genetic factors in African Americans might offset the risks usually linked to the E4 allele. Researchers are investigating potential genetic modifiers unique to African American populations that could interact with the APOE gene in ways that lower the likelihood of developing Alzheimer's. Number 5. KIR genes and immunity. Killer cell immunoglobulin-like receptors, or KIR, are genes that regulate the activity of natural killer cells, which are crucial for defending the body against viral infections and tumors. Interestingly, African populations exhibit greater diversity in their KIR gene profiles than other groups, and this genetic diversity enhances their ability to fight a broad range of infections. That's why researchers are studying the genes of Black Africans to know the genes that help them resist certain infectious diseases effortlessly, so the same resistance can be developed in the white population. The biggest advantage is against HIV, where certain combinations of KIR genes and HLA class I molecules are linked to slower progression from HIV infection to AIDS in Black people. Individuals with these specific KIR-HLA combinations may be better equipped to control the virus, leading to lower viral loads and a slower rate of disease progression. The broad immune responses seen in African populations, influenced by this genetic diversity, may give them an edge in combating various pathogens. Here's a reminder to please support us so we can make more videos for you by subscribing to our channel and giving the video a like. We want to build a strong community and we need your support. Let's continue now. Number 6. Tuberculosis resistance. Tuberculosis has long been a global health challenge, but some genetic studies suggest that African populations may have developed a higher level of natural resistance to the disease, possibly due to centuries of exposure to Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Over time, natural selection favored Black individuals with genetic traits that strengthen immune responses to TB, giving them better protection against active infections. And this resistance against tuberculosis was adopted in the genes and passed on to the next generation, which has now resulted in Black people mostly being better equipped to fight tuberculosis. Furthermore, variations in human leukocyte antigen genes, which help regulate immune system responses, may contribute to this natural resistance. Certain HLA variants are thought to enhance immune responses to TB bacteria, lowering the chances of developing active tuberculosis after exposure. Number 7. Low risk for cystic fibrosis. Cystic fibrosis is a genetic disorder affecting the lungs and digestive system caused by mutations in the CFTR gene. This mutation results in the production of thick, sticky mucus that can block airways and cause digestive issues. However, cystic fibrosis is far less common in people of African descent than in those of European descent. That's because the most common CF-causing mutation, delta F508, is rare among African populations, which helps explain the lower incidence of the disease. This difference in mutation prevalence may stem from distinct evolutionary pressures. In Africa, where infectious diseases like malaria were a bigger threat, the CF mutation likely didn't offer any survival advantage. Meanwhile, the mutation persisted in Europe, possibly because it provided some protection against respiratory infections in cooler climates. Number 8. Lower incidence of certain cancers. People of African descent experience lower rates of certain cancers, particularly skin cancer and testicular cancer, compared to those of European descent. This reduced incidence is largely due to genetic factors, such as higher levels of melanin and other variations that influence how certain cancers develop. When it comes to testicular cancer, studies have found that it is less common among people of African descent compared to their European counterparts. Although the exact reasons for this are not entirely clear, genetic factors are believed to play a significant role. Testicular cancer rates are highest in Europe and North America, suggesting that a combination of genetic predispositions and environmental factors influences cancer risk. Number 9. Resistance to certain parasitic infections. In regions like sub-Saharan Africa, where parasitic infections are prevalent, people have developed genetic adaptations that provide protection. A prime example is resistance to trypanosomiasis, commonly known as sleeping sickness, which is caused by the Trypanosoma brucei parasite and transmitted by the tsetse fly. Some populations in West Africa carry a variation in the APOL1 gene that offers protection against trypanosomiasis. This gene produces a protein that is toxic to the trypanosomes, making it harder for the parasites to survive in the body. However, this genetic advantage comes with a trade-off. The same APOL1 variant that protects against sleeping sickness is also linked to an increased risk of chronic kidney disease and focal segmental glomerulosclerosis in people of African descent. This demonstrates how evolutionary adaptations can provide resistance to one disease while increasing vulnerability to another. Number 10. Reduced risk of age-related macular degeneration. Age-related macular degeneration, AMD, is a leading cause of vision loss in older adults, particularly among people of European descent. AMD occurs when the macula, the part of the retina responsible for sharp, detailed vision, deteriorates over time. Several genes, including variants of the CFH or complement factor H gene, are linked to the development of AMD. However, studies show that African Americans have a significantly lower risk of developing AMD compared to white Americans. This reduced susceptibility is likely due to genetic differences, particularly variations in the CFH gene and other related genes. African populations tend to carry different versions of these genes, which may provide protection against the inflammation and oxidative stress that contribute to AMD. Number 11. High bone density and resistance to osteoporosis. People of African descent, particularly African Americans, are known for having higher bone density than people of European or Asian descent. This genetic trait provides significant protection against osteoporosis, a condition that weakens bones and increases the risk of fractures. Research consistently shows that African Americans, both men and women, have lower rates of osteoporosis and related fractures than other racial groups. Higher bone density means stronger bones that are less likely to become fragile or break with age. This protection is likely due to both genetic and environmental factors. Variations in genes related to calcium metabolism and bone growth are thought to contribute to the higher bone density observed in people of African descent. Additionally, hormonal factors, including higher levels of circulating testosterone and estrogen, may also play a role in maintaining bone mass and strength. What do you think? Are Black people better equipped with dominant genes which help them be fittest against changing environments? Isn't it a manifestation of the survival of the fittest, where Black people have better survival chances? In the comment section right below, share your thoughts on whether you ever needed sunblock, if you are a Black person, or if your natural ability takes care of the sun. Would you like us to make more videos? If yes, please support us by subscribing to the Black History Archives and clicking the bell icon. You can check out more videos on our channel too.